September 11th of 2001 changed America. September 11th of 2001 started like any other day. President George Bush was at a school in Florida promoting his Reading at an Early Age program. Vice President Dick Cheney was in Washington, D.C., and about 25 miles away, at Washington's Dulles Airport, a group of hijackers went through security. It was a similar scene at Logan Airport in Boston and Newark Liberty Airport in New Jersey, where even more hijackers were getting ready to take the skies. They were using 4 passenger jets en route to California, each with about 10,000 gallons of gas and hundreds of passengers on board as weapons to commit unimaginable acts of terror. Without a cloud in the sky, at 8:46 that Tuesday morning, Flight 11 from Boston to Los Angeles hit the first Twin Tower.
September 11th, the best I can tell you, I was in the Lincoln Tunnel when the attack started, going to work at MSNBC. MSNBC was located in Secaucus at the time, and so I arrived in the studio just as the coverage began.
Reports of a plane hitting the World Trade Center began to spread.
It's 8:52 here in New York. I'm Brian Gumbel. We understand that there has been a plane crash on the southern tip of Manhattan. You're looking at the World Trade Center. We understand that a plane has crashed into the World Trade Center. We don't know anything more than that.
People across America and around the world were watching television to figure out what was going on. At 9:03 a.m., another plane hit the South Tower.
It was my daughter, Melissa. I knew she was in New York. I didn't know anything that had happened at that particular point in time. She got her composure, said to me, "Dad, I'm on the 101st floor of the World Trade Center, and a bomb just went off." In my bedroom was a TV set. I turned it on, happened to be on CNN. I saw the fire, I saw the smoke. I was heartbroken.
At 9:37 a.m., American Airlines Flight 77 tore into the Pentagon. Flight 93, the 4th hijacked plane, was headed toward the Capitol. But because of quick and brave actions by the passengers and crew, they overpowered the hijackers and the plane crashed into an open field in Pennsylvania.
I just stood for a second as, why, what did I just see?
They chose to act. They fought back. They breached the cockpit and fought for control of that flight. And in doing so, they lost their lives, but in the process, they saved countless other lives. And again, they perhaps saved the Capitol building.
And I immediately, ran right to the set and told him to give me a microphone. And aviation is one of the things I like to cover. And so one of the first things I did was put up a picture of what had just happened. And I was, because they were saying a small plane, and I said, "No, that's not a small plane." I said, "Look at the engines, that's a larger transport airplane."
As reporters and intelligence officials tried to figure out what was going on, a Secret Service agent approached President Bush during the educational event and said, "We are under attack." President Bush later described being dumbfounded when he heard the news and said he froze in shock.
I don't think anybody anticipated an attack of that magnitude. I mean, we had, the country had been attacked before. The World Trade Center had been bombed before. We'd seen domestic terrorism with the bombing of the Oklahoma City Federal Building. There had been other attacks against Americans overseas. Maybe people in government, but I don't think the average person really thought on that level that we could, lose 3,000 people in one day. I don't think anybody really consciously, thought about that.
The FBI soon realized Al-Qaeda was behind the attack because they recognized the names of passengers aboard Flight 77. One question people started to ask was how airport security allowed passengers linked to terrorism to board an American plane. Prior to the 9/11 attacks, there were only 4 fighter jets defending the eastern sector of the country, which consisted of 23 states and roughly 30 million people. Compared to now, security at airports was relatively simple and much more lax. 9/11 showed the government those security measures were not acceptable, so since then, changes have been made to improve them.
The intelligence, coupled with the repeated covert testing, led me to conclude that we needed to be more thorough.
Aviation, we know, has been a target for a long time. The level of aviation security that we've seen has been ramped up post 9/11, not just because of what happened there, but since then there was an attempt to blow up an airplane with a bomb and a shoe. That's why you take off your shoes at the airport. There was a plot to blow up airplanes between here and London with liquids. That's why you have to put your shampoo in a plastic bag. So things keep evolving.
Since 9/11, America has spent nearly $8 trillion in repairing holes in airport security. Airports are no longer a place for family gatherings before a passenger boards his or her plane. No longer is the passenger's word taken as a security measure. Each step that a passenger takes once he or she has entered the terminal is carefully monitored by security personnel or cameras. Only individuals with boarding passes can travel from the ticket counters to the gate areas. During this process, people are screened verbally by TSA agents and then mechanically by X-ray machines. This process of detection and security enables the agents to examine the behavior of passengers and assure that they are not concealing any dangerous items. Shoes and belts are removed, and all carry-on belongings are screened. After not permitting knives or box cutters on board planes since 9/11, the Federal Aviation Administration recently decided to allow certain types of small knives on board. Still, the heightened security measures help TSA agents detect any dangerous materials or harmful objects someone may be trying to conceal. At some airports, TSA agents also do additional screening at the gate.
One of the things they like to do sometimes is they'll do surprise screening at the gate. You'll show up, you've been through security, you come to your gate, and there'll be 5 or 6 TSA agents there that will pull people aside randomly and go through their bags again.
Although this activity slows the boarding process, the safety of passengers and crew is better established.
Another important thing that you don't see is that our bags now are screened for explosives before they get on the airplane. That was huge. Something that probably should have happened before 9/11 because we'd had airplane bombings before. But that's huge that they now screen bags by machine, and sometimes they'll actually go through your luggage. It's happened to me before that I'll get to my destination, open my bag, and there's a little note from the TSA saying, by the way, we looked through your bag and inspected it. So that was a very, very important improvement in aviation security.
Aboard the aircraft, safety and order are priorities. Similar to the post-9/11 atmosphere in the gate area, there is a more business-like environment and visible security presence on the plane. The entire air travel experience is closely monitored by trained professionals, from curbside attendants to ticket agents to TSA personnel and flight attendants. While there has been less passenger freedom since 9/11, passenger safety has improved.
This was an event that rocked the nation, one of the most powerful nations on this planet, and we were shocked, frightened, afraid, and we thought our whole entire world had changed in one day.
It's a moving target. Security is a moving target, and I think they do the best they can, and it's a learning experience. Unfortunately, sometimes we learn after the fact. But as they say, the terrorists only have to be lucky once. The people trying to stop them have to be lucky all the time.
The government, along with security officials, continue to make changes that will improve the safety of Americans, make flying as safe as possible, and hopefully prevent a tragedy like 9/11 from ever happening again.